Hello and welcome to City News. I'm Ben Askins.
And I'm Morgan Hanshaw, and these are the top stories for this afternoon.
Putin's main political opponent, Alexei Navalny, has died in prison.
Netanyahu rejects international pressure for a ceasefire in Gaza.
And London celebrates the 40th anniversary of Fashion Week.
Our top story this afternoon is breaking news. Vladimir Putin's main political opponent in Russia, Alexei Navalny, has died in prison. Navalny, a long-time critic of the Russian leader, was serving a 19-year jail sentence in Siberia for corruption. The Russian prison service said the 47-year-old collapsed after feeling unwell following a walk. There's already been scepticism from Western leaders about how he died. The French foreign minister said that Navalny paid with his life for resisting Russian oppression. Prime Minister Rishi Sunak says the death is terrible news, and the NATO chief, Jens Stoltenberg, says Russia has serious questions to answer. The Kremlin says it has no information on the cause of Navalny's death. With us now to talk about the story is James Rogers, Russia expert and Associate Professor of International Journalism at City University London. Hi James, great to have you here. Now, this is one of Putin's biggest political opponents. The cause of death hasn't been established yet. His lawyer said everything seemed normal on Thursday. How can we be sure that this is an actual death?
Pre-opening. So this is creating pre-opening revenue for you, and then when submission is up and running, then we happily take the.
We'll try and come back to James as soon as possible.
Western defence ministers and security experts are gathering in Munich, where it's expected they will call for Israel to suspend their ground invasion into the southern Gaza city of Rafah and call for a ceasefire. This comes following an Israeli military intrusion into Al-Nasser Hospital in Khan Younis in Rafah, where at least 4 patients died after the electricity was severed and oxygen supplies cut. Duha Al-Zaidi has this report.
Chaos unfolds in Gaza's biggest functioning hospital after Israeli forces launched an invasion claiming that Hamas were using the site to hold hostages. The Israeli chief military officer Daniel Hagari said the operation was precise and limited.
We have credible intelligence from a number of sources, including from released hostages, indicating that Hamas held hostages at the Nasser hospital in Khan Younis, and that there may be bodies of our hostages in the Nasser hospital facility.
Hamas have dismissed these claims as lies. Health authorities have said that Israel has forced displaced Palestinians to leave the hospital, but have allowed medical staff and patients to stay. Electricity cuts and lack of oxygen supplies are just one of the problems unfolding. Dr. Nahid Abu Taima, the director of Nasser Medical Complex in Khan Younis, said that the situation at the hospital is catastrophic. But Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu remains adamant on his refusal to recognize Palestine as a state. He took to X saying Israel outright rejects international dictates regarding a permanent settlement with the Palestinians. He added that Israel will continue to oppose the unilateral recognition of a Palestinian state. Western leaders, among officials from Egypt, Qatar, Jordan, and Saudi Arabia, will discuss plans for a 6-week pause in fighting. But fears rise that if Hamas and Israel reject the proposal, attacks will escalate in Lebanon and delay plans to negotiate. David Cameron, the UK Foreign Secretary, has explicitly called for the West to join in recognising Palestinian territory. Whilst the US is reviewing its recognition policy, Germany has showed full support in Lord Cameron's efforts. The World Health Organization is attempting to gain access to Nasser Hospital as Israeli troops continue to raid the facility where hundreds are constrained. Duha Al-Zaidi, City News.
Greece has become the first Orthodox Christian country to legalise same-sex marriage following 2 days of heated debate in the Greek parliament. The Prime Minister, Kyriakos Mitsotakis, said the passage of the bill was a milestone for human rights. Manzi has this report.
Same-sex marriage is now legal in Greece, sparking celebrations across the Greek islands all the way to the capital of Athens. Greece has become the first majority Christian Orthodox nation to legalise gay rights under civil law, and at least for the near future, it will certainly be the only one.
It's very important for mental health. You know, discrimination, it is one of the most pervasive, actually, risk factor for mental health. So just knowing that there is less discrimination, that actually is is protective and promotive for LGBTQI mental health.
The landmark bill was drafted up by centre-right leader and Prime Minister Kyriakos Mitsotakis. The cross-party majority of 176 lawmakers voted in favour of gay rights in a 300-seat parliament. The Prime Minister tweeted shortly after the bill was made that Greece is proud to become the 16th EU country to legislate marriage equality. It's a huge milestone for human rights reflecting today's Greece.
It leaves outside many important aspects of LGBTQI rights. LGBTQI parenting is not fully recognized, or at least is not equally recognized as in heterosexual families, which means that this could be a truly emblematic legislation, but it isn't.
As for the current day, Greece will continue to party, as this is a massive step in their country's history. This is Manzi for City News.
The prime suspect in Madeleine McCann's disappearance has arrived in court for the start of his sexual abuse trial. Madeleine disappeared from a holiday apartment in Lagos, Portugal in 2007 when she was 3 years old. Christian Bruckner has been named by German police as the man they believe to be responsible for her disappearance. He is currently serving a 7-year jail sentence for rape and is now facing trial for 5 more sexual offences unconnected with Madeleine's case.
Parents across the country have been issued a warning to make sure their children are vaccinated against measles, as new cases emerge in every region of England. There have been 56 cases recorded within the last week, bringing the total number since October last year to 521. The worst affected area is the West Midlands, with over 350 cases. People in certain groups, such as women and pregnant women and children, are at increased risk of complications.
It's not like having a cold or a cough. It can lead to really serious complications. So anywhere between 1 in 5 and 1 in 20 children can end up with complications such as pneumonia, so a serious infection of the lungs, meningitis, which might lead to hospital admission. Some children have been ending up in intensive care in the past, and it can even lead to long-term disabilities such as deafness or even death in some cases. And there have been recent deaths across the world of children with measles, and we should really remember that there's an effective way to prevent this, which is to have 2 doses of the MMR vaccine.
The White House has confirmed that US intelligence has information on an anti-satellite weapon being developed by Russia. US officials are analysing the information they have and are consulting with their allies on the situation. The technology is space-based and would violate an international space treaty which has been agreed upon by over 100 countries, including Russia.
I want to be clear about a couple of things right off the bat. First, this is not an active capability that's been deployed. And though Russia's pursuit of this particular capability is troubling, there is no immediate threat to anyone's safety. We are not talking about a weapon that can be used to attack human beings or cause physical destruction here on Earth. I don't want to minimize the potential here for disruption should there be an anti-satellite capability of any significance. It could affect services here on Earth. There's no question about that. That's why we are taking this so seriously.
Labour has won 2 by-elections in Wellingborough and Kingswood, overturning Conservative majorities. However, one report suggests that Labour is losing support from some members of the Muslim community. We are joined live by political correspondent Duha Al-Zaidi. Hi Duha, what are the latest updates on the by-elections?
So Labour's party was overjoyed today with 2 elections, 2 major wins in today's by-election. As you've mentioned, in Northamptonshire, that is in Wellingsborough, with the figures more than 19,000 votes, and in Kingswood, Gloucestershire, it overturned nearly 12,000 votes. This has left Prime Minister Rishi Sunak a little disappointed. He has admitted that some work still needs to be done, and it's just a reminder to show voters that he has to uphold his priorities.
Labour is losing support from some members of the Muslim community.
And that's exactly what we're here to find out today, Ben. So I am stood outside of the London Central Mosque in Regent's Park. I have spoken to some Muslims on the ground who have confirmed they do not want to vote Labour anymore, and it is because of Keir Starmer's failure to take an active stance in the Israel and Hamas war. You will recall that he was asked for comment in response to Israel cutting off aid and water in Gaza, and his response was that Israel has the right to defend itself. For many Muslims, that was simply not good enough. In a survey conducted by the Labour Muslim Network earlier this month, it showed that 60% of Muslims will still vote Labour. Whilst it may seem promising, it is still a significant downgrade from the previous 86% in 2021.
And what would Sir Keir Starmer have to establish to gain their support back?
Well, it's exactly that question, Ben. Keir Starmer is put in a difficult position where he must prove himself as a reliable figure for the Muslim communities, whilst also upholding his reputation as a good party leader. He is now in his 3rd anti-Semitism row from his own party members, but there is no definite answer what he will do, but what almost certainly calling for a ceasefire is the Muslim community's top priority. We have seen other Western leaders do it. As you'll recall, today in Munich, several officials gathered from all over the world to discuss negotiations. Keir Starmer must simply do the same.
Thanks for that, Duha. Coming up after the break, all the entertainment news, including the latest from London Fashion Week, which marks its 40th anniversary this weekend.
Welcome back. Now for some entertainment news with Veronica.
London Fashion Week is starting today, and this is the 40th anniversary. The designer, Pau Costello, opened the event this morning, and tonight there will be runway shows for brands like Momonari and Amelin. In total, 67 brands will show their fall collections. We are joined now by Roland Bardelep, model agent based in London. Hello, Roland.
Someone as stressy as me.
So tell us, what goes into preparation for London Fashion Week?
It depends who is answering the question. If it's the British Fashion Council, you've got a lot of different variables, lots of different fixed variables as well. Or if you're a model or if you're a designer, obviously, from a designer's point of view, it's probably the most scariest thing for them. If you're a model, it depends. If it's your first time for Fashion Week, then it's obviously nerve-wracking. Or if you've been here, done that, then it's just another day in the office, isn't it?
Will exceed expectations after the New York Fashion Week?
I see why you struggled.
Well, London Fashion Week, I think, has beaten New York Fashion Week 4 years in a row now. New York obviously has lost most of its dominance over mainly to Paris, and I think London still kind of holds it together. But I think this year, London Fashion Week, due to the British Fashion Council, they're going a little bit under the budget every year, and they're losing money very quickly because they're losing support and patronage, which obviously keeps them funded because the British government doesn't pay for the British Fashion Council. So it's kind of a privately run institution rather than a publicly run institution nowadays.
And are you attending London Fashion Week shows?
I think so, yeah. On Sunday I might go to a few, yeah.
Okay. So now, ITV's This Morning new host has been unveiled. Kat Dilley and Ben Shepherd will replace Holly Willoughby and Philip Schofield. Kat Dilley is a BAFTA Children's Award winner for her career as a co-presenter of the ITV children's show SMTV Live, and Ben Shepherd has more than 20 years' experience presenting for Channel 4, ITV, Sky, and BBC. And J-Lo is releasing a new album today, This Is Me Now. It's a continuation to her album This Is Me Then, and she delves into her love story with her current partner Ben Affleck. In the song Midnight Trip to Vegas, she narrates her rush wedding at a little white wedding chapel in Las Vegas with Ben Affleck. J-Lo is also releasing a musical documentary on Amazon Prime named after her album. In this documentary, she offers a glimpse into her journey of love, sharing her own personal experience in relationships and marriage. The cast members include Ben Affleck and Sofia Vergara. It's BAFTA Award night on Sunday, one of the biggest events for the British film industry. Among the nominees are Oppenheimer, Anatomy of a Fall, The Holdovers, Killers of the Flower Moon, Poor Things, and British films like Napoleon, Saltburn, Wonka, and All of Us Strangers. Oppenheimer already has over 170 awards and is the front runner this weekend with 13 nominations. A movie about reggae's most famous singer Bob Marley has opened in cinemas across the UK. Bob Marley, One Love is a biographical musical drama film about his life and adversities he suffered. It is directed by Ronaldo Marcus Green and stars Jamaican artist Kingsley Ben-Adir as Marley and Lashana Lynch as Rita, his wife. The documentary covers his rise to fame in the mid-1970s up until his death in the 80s. Prince Harry has appeared on ABC's program Good Morning America to talk in public for the first time about his father's health. Last week, Buckingham Palace announced that King Charles was diagnosed with cancer after an undergoing treatment for an enlarged prostate. This morning, Harry said he's considering becoming a U.S. citizen and that he loves every single day of his life in California.
Thanks, Veronica. Coming up after the break, the sports news including all the latest on Mbappe's future.
Welcome back to City News. Here now with the latest in sports is Ivan.
And we begin with cricket, with another big day for England in the third test against India. England have made a good response to India's 445 all-out in the first innings. At stumps, England were 207 for 2 with opener Ben Duckett scoring an unbeaten century in just 88 balls. Christian Horner, team boss for Red Bull, has spoken in public for the first time since the investigation into alleged inappropriate behavior. In an interview with Sky Sports, Horner denied the allegations against him.
No, it's business as usual. There obviously is a process. Obviously, I fully deny any accusations that have been made against me. But of course, I'll work with that process, which I hope is concluded in the near future.
Kylian Mbappe will leave Paris Saint-Germain this summer. Mbappe, who will be out of contract, communicated his decision to the PSG president. Paris Saint-Germain expect Mbappe to join Real Madrid at the end of the season once the terms of his exit are finalized. Joining us live is football superfan Joe Comesbury. Hello, Joe, how are you?
Good, thanks, good.
Well, could you please tell us what are your thoughts on Mbappe leaving Paris Saint-Germain? Has it come across as shocking to you?
Well, I don't think it is that much of a shock, as he's a massive Real Madrid fan, and as we know from when he was a kid. And I think that the fact that he's been flirting with this idea for a very long time has made it less of a shock. And he's always said his dream is to go and follow his idol Ronaldo, and I think for him, this is probably the best time for him to do it. The only thing that is a shock is the fact that it came after that 2-0 win against Sociedad. You would think that he's going to be focusing on the Champions League this season, as he's not won the Champions League with PSG.
All right. And Mbappe is expected to join Real Madrid when his contract ends. So do you think that would happen eventually?
Yes, I do think that will happen, but there are other clubs that are still in possibility, like Arsenal and Liverpool, but I think the main sticking point will be his wages, as a lot of clubs cannot afford that right now, and I think Real Madrid are the only club, even though they do have financial problems, I think they're the only club that could pay what he's asking for, but he would still have to take a massive pay cut to join them.
All right, and what do you think the Paris Saint-Germain's future would look like without Mbappe right now?
Oh, well, they have already been going through this process of trying to get rid of their Galactico stars like Messi, Icardi, Ramos, and Neymar have all left. And I think they are going for a younger look, but I don't think that this is going to be a very good look for them, because Mbappe brings them all the money, brings them all the superstar fame and all the fans, and I think that it just shows that this project has failed in a way. So, but I think it might actually in some ways have a positive impact, as we might see a younger looking PSG squad, and we might just see some more talent come through the academy. We might actually see more of a team instead of individuals, as Mbappe, Messi and all those are quite massive egos. So we might actually have a team that is more united instead of more egos, if that's the word.
Thank you. Former German football star Jürgen Klinsmann has been fired as head coach of the South Korean national team after an Asian Cup semi-final exit and reports of infighting among star players. Announcing his sacking, top officials at the Korea Football Association said Klinsmann did not demonstrate leadership or live up to expectations, and it was felt he was unlikely to improve. The 59-year-old was also accused of being disrespectful towards the Korean public by not spending enough time in the country. Prince Harry has had a go at one of winter sports' most dangerous events, the skeleton bobsleigh. He and Meghan were visiting the Invictus Games training camp in Whistler, Canada. After he hurtled down the track safely, the prince said that everyone should do this. It should be compulsory. And finally, football. The biggest game of the weekend is tonight in the Women's Super League, where leaders Chelsea meet second-place Manchester City with 3 points separating the top two. So it's all to play for at Kings Meadow.
Thanks for that, Ivan. And now, looking ahead to the weekend, here's the weather forecast with Mario.
So today has been quite a warm day in terms of February weather in London, reaching highs of up to 15 degrees, and tonight it will go to around 8 degrees. However, going into the weekend, it will stay pretty warm in the capital, highs of around 14 degrees, lows of however, on Sunday, there is a chance of rain, about 70% chance. However, as we have got this lovely warm weather, just as half-term is ending, why don't you come down to Regent's Park and have a little go on the boats? Back to you in the studio.
Sounds good, Mario. Thanks.
And that's all from us at City News this afternoon. I'm Ben Askins.
And I'm Morgan Hanshaw. Thanks for watching.